I'm here with the all-new 2019 Corolla Hatchback. Now, the reason that I say this car is all new is because it really doesn't share anything in common with the Corolla sedan that's currently on sale here in the United States. The Corolla Hatchback is based on the European version of the car, which Toyota calls the Auris, and it rides on a brand new platform. It rides on Toyota's global architecture, and it's an improvement in pretty much every single way over the current Corolla sedan. Now, under the hood of the Corolla Hatchback is a new 2-liter 4-cylinder, and it makes 168 horsepower. That's a 31 horsepower improvement over the outgoing Corolla IM. And that car felt a bit sluggish, but this car doesn't. The bigger changes to the powertrain for me actually come with the transmissions. There will be 2 available transmissions on the hatchback, a CVT or a 6-speed manual. And both get changes that make them a bit more drivable and a bit easier to live with. Starting with the CVT, it is a CVT, but at the bottom of it is what we call a fixed gear. So essentially what it has is a first gear that behaves like a normal first gear in an automatic would, and that gives it better off-the-line acceleration. One of the big complaints about CVTs is that you have that rubber bandy feel, and they're really bad from a stop. However, in the Corolla Hatchback, since it has a fixed first gear, acceleration from a stop feels more linear, and it makes the whole car feel much more responsive. Now, the bigger change for me comes from the 6-speed manual. In the Corolla IM, you were also offered a 6-speed manual, but it was not a good one. The clutch action was sloppy, the throws were long, the gates weren't very good. It was so bad that it actually made me prefer the automatic version. In this case, it's been cleaned up. The clutch action is a little bit more linear and the gates are more well defined. It's an easier manual to drive. And it comes with 2 features that you wouldn't necessarily expect from a Toyota manual. The first one is Downshift Rev-Matching. So when you're going from like 3rd to 2nd gear or even 4th to 2nd gear, the engine will rev up to match the new gear, and it makes it smoother when you're downshifting. Toyota says it also has some fuel economy benefits, but we don't have actual fuel economy numbers for the Corolla Hatchback yet, so we'll have to see if that's true. The second feature, which will be very welcome for some people, is an anti-stall feature. Essentially what happens is if it feels the car is going to stall in first gear, it will actually bump up the revs on the engine slightly so you don't stall. And this is kind of perfect for those who are learning how to drive manual. And the Corolla Hatchback might be the most friendly car for beginners that I've ever driven. Now, how does the Corolla Hatchback do in corners? It does okay. It can drive circles around the Corolla sedan, but it doesn't quite live up to sporty members of this class like the Mazda 3, and I think the Civic is a little bit sharper overall. But on the right kind of road, you can have fun pushing the Corolla Hatchback. Now, the hatchback also comes with some new suspension technology called Active Cornering Assist, and what that will do is it will actually use the brakes on the inside front wheel when you're coming into a corner to help give you a better approach angle, and it will actually help to keep the car flatter and prevent understeer as well. Now, another strength for the Corolla Hatchback would be styling. The Corolla IM wasn't a bad looking car, but the Corolla Hatchback kind of takes it to the next level. I especially like the treatment of the front grille, where there's this floating body color piece on the bottom that helps to give the front dimension. The whole package looks more aggressive overall, and even the big wing spoiler found on the XSE, it doesn't overdo it. It actually matches the overall aesthetic of the car quite well. Now, the Corolla Hatchback also gets a few interior upgrades as well. An 8-inch multimedia touchscreen is standard across both trim levels. That would be the SE and XSE. And it does come with Entune 3.0, Toyota's new multimedia system that includes Apple CarPlay and Amazon Alexa connectivity. And those are 2 features that we've been clamoring for a long time in Toyotas. One other thing that I appreciate about the Corolla Hatchback is the actual placement of the screen. It's pretty high on the dash, so it's easy for you to look at briefly while driving without taking your eyes too far off the road, and you can reach it from the driver's seat without having to lean too far forward. So I can just reach out and touch the far right side of the screen without having to lean forward. The dashboard design is very clean, and I'm a big fan of it. There aren't too many controls, and what Toyota has done is they've clustered them all up pretty high, so there's nothing you have to really reach for down low besides the heat warmers. All of your climate controls are right here, and your multimedia controls are here. XSE models also add a 7-inch digital display in the instrument panel, and it's high resolution and easy to see even in bright conditions like the ones that we have today. Now, if the Corolla hatchback's interior has one weakness, it would be the back seat. Toyota actually hasn't released official specs and dimensions for the backseat area yet, but I can tell you that there isn't much legroom. If I set up the seat here where I want to drive and I'm 5'11", I actually can't fit in the back seat without putting my knees into the back of the front seat. Headroom is good though. There's some cutouts in the hood, and the overall shape of the car gives you a lot of air, so you won't feel claustrophobic. But there are no visible air vents in the back seat either, so the back of the center console just has a small storage bin, but no air vents and no USB ports. There's only two USB ports, one found up here under the dash and the other one here in the central storage bin. So there's no way if you're in the back seat for you to get air or to really charge your devices. And for someone like me who has a tendency to get kind of motion sick, that would make riding in the back difficult. Now, the Corolla hatchback also carries with it a few important safety updates, and that includes both new technology and updates to existing safety technology. Toyota has done a very good job of making safety features standard across their whole lineup of vehicles. So the last generation of Corolla did have standard features like adaptive cruise control, automatic forward emergency braking, and lane keep assist, but those technologies have been refined in the Corolla hatchback. And it will be the first Toyota to come with what they're calling Toyota Safety Sense 2.0. So two of those technologies that are worth highlighting are updates to the adaptive cruise control and updates to the lane keep system. So the lane keep system before would keep you in the lane, but it didn't have any centering. Now it has centering, so instead of ping-ponging from lane line to lane line, it actually keeps you firmly in the middle of that lane. Now the second innovation is the one that I'm excited about as someone who lives in Los Angeles, where stop and go traffic is a norm. The adaptive cruise control will now take you all the way down to a stop. Before, it turned off at around 15 miles an hour, which got annoying when traffic got slow, but in CVT-equipped models of the Corolla hatchback, it'll take you all the way down to 0. Now, if you do opt for the manual, it will still only go down to 15, because if you drop below that, you'll need to change gears anyway. However, it has one helpful feature, and that is if you downshift, let's say you're on a hill and you're using the cruise control, it will still hold your speed, but just do so at a lower gear. Now, no official word yet on pricing or fuel economy for the Corolla Hatch, but we assume that we'll get those numbers closer to the car's on sale date in July of 2018.